things first, you already win. You already him, you don't gotta pretend. Fuck them, you already king. You stay real, you confident in your skin. It's all now, sit in the power that you already in. This the story of a master from a true Bedouin, far away from home than few ever been. First round pick, league of the smooth gentleman. The game rigged like 50 said it's a cruel sentiment. I'm from the era when lyrics and bars is over everything. 5-star veteran. You couldn't walk in my fucking shoes or carry them. Excuse my borderline is very thin. Been married to the game like ever since maybe 2010. I realized most of y'all not serious. Point blank period. I flex and twist necks like cherry stems. Thought he was buried, but there he is, a new narrative. I keep winning.
They not used to what you bringing, kid.
I keep winning.
Don't even know what they looking at.
I keep winning.
Hey, yo, pick one lane and stay in that
I
shit.
keep winning.
What up? What up? What up?
I keep winning.
Nobody seeing your vision.
How we doing, yo? It's July 22nd, 6:30 Eastern time, and we have a very special show and a special guest. Someone that I have been watching and getting to know from afar from their podcast, and I'm glad that they're on with us. Let me quickly introduce them. MC Toussaint. Applause.
Hello. hello. Good to be here.
Thanks so much for being here, yo. I appreciate it. Yeah, we've been trying to get on, and we're here. And you know, in this show, we like to talk about all kinds of things, and we range from the personal to the political. And we have a couple of things we want to talk to, and we'll get there. But I gotta start us off with the political. You know, all the attention right now is that we have the presumptive Democrat nominee, or at least let me rephrase that: President Biden has stepped down and has endorsed Kamala Harris. What do you feel about that? Or how do you
crazy? It's in a way, it's like it's not that crazy. He's obviously a fossil.
Mm-hmm.
He obviously was struggling and was making the Dems look bad. So, you know, we kind of saw it coming, but this is kind of unprecedented. You know, these are crazy times.
These are absolutely crazy times. These are absolutely crazy. And we're seeing, or I'm seeing, I don't know what to call it, typical or atypical. Like you said, there's no precedence for this, but the splitting of people's, these opinions in terms of, I don't know what to call people, loyalists still to Biden, people who are very upset. Other people have very quickly pivoted and are 100% Kamala.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then others of us still have other third party opinions. Are you as sick of horse race politics as I am?
I am so tired. So tired of electoral politics in general.
Yeah.
It's a losing game for people who are as far left as we are. It's painful.
It's very painful to watch. And one of the things I'm seeing too, I feel like there's an evolution in the way in the way people approach politics now, or in the discourse. Maybe it's because of social media. We can all get on and talk to each other, but it seems that everyone is not the conversation isn't policy. It is everyone thinks they're like James Carville. Everyone's a Democrat strategist. Right? Are you feeling that?
I think that has a lot to do with the media.
Yeah.
I think it gets people to think like Democratic strategists.
Yes.
It trains them to do that when that's totally unnecessary and not their jobs.
Yes. I see it ESPN does the same thing to football. You know, people people judge people instead of judging a player or basketball. Instead of judging a player as we used to, we're thinking about contracts and we're thinking about all these trades and deals and guys, or even hip hop. I see cats talk guys, especially the Drake fans, the people who are Drake fans. They're talking about charts and numbers. They're not talking about, they're rating things based on this other thing.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. That's an excellent point.
That's so weird. Yeah, we're just gonna see how this thing plays out. Do you have any hopes? Anything you're hoping for, or meh?
I mean, no.
It's that dire, yo. No hopes.
There's nothing they can do.
Yeah.
There's nothing they could do that would be like. I saw somebody saying it would be great if they brought Bernie back in the race. He really had the young people, and I'm like, they would never, ever,
Yeah.
ever do that. Never. And a lot of the young people don't like Bernie anymore,
Yeah.
because of his stance on Palestine, Israel.
Hmm. Even though
So
he waffled, but
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
These things are moments. That's real quick before we leave this space altogether. These things have like there's like a now moment where things have to happen or things work or whether it's like
Mhm.
pick your year, and they I think people know that and they mess up the now moment and now it's
Mhm.
gone and you got to be in the now moment. So
I mean, things are changing so quickly.
they are.
You
It's
got to be in
crazy.
that moment.
Yes. And one of the things like I like to talk about politics. I like to broaden the discussion on politics, right? Because politics is everything. You know that. And
Hmm.
it's much more than the horse race. It's how we relate to each other and how we relate to the world, which brings us a bit to some of our discussion today, because I learned about your environmentalism,
Nice.
MC. Tell me a bit about that. What is so fresh and so green?
You done some digging.
Mm-hmm. I'm in your DMs. I'm in your
Yeah,
LinkedIn, son.
that's right. Oh my God, my LinkedIn, my abandoned LinkedIn. So Fresh and So Green is a project that I started years ago, over 10 years ago,
Mm,
to try to get young Black and Brown people and urban people more interested in environmentalism. I felt that this was a demographic that was underserved with the message of environmentalism, but some of the interest was there. So the interest wasn't being supported by anybody, and I thought I would sort of bridge the gap.
love it. Love it. Yeah, I recently uh, met at a bar a group of black. What was the name of the group? But out here in Baltimore, there's a black.
Hmm.
There's two groups. One was like more invested in birds, and the other had to do with like forestry in general and teaching
Hmm.
um, young black Baltimore kids about nature and
Nice.
having them spend time there and then develop the language around it. Um,
Yeah,
thought it
that's
was
very
really important.
necessary.
Yeah. So what is it that how do you bridge the gap? How do we talk to black people about environmentalism?
Well, I find that when I talk to Black people about environmentalism, they already have the interest. It's not like you're talking to them about something that's foreign. It's just that nobody talks to them about environmentalism, you
Right.
know?
Yes.
So somebody told me once that they were very concerned about fracking, and
Mm.
they thought that it had it might have oil extraction might have had to do with some of these earthquakes, and I was like, yeah, you're onto something. They are related. Fracking does have something to do with the earthquakes for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's been proven. So, I mean, he's not reading the articles where the links are made. So, I made the connection for him, but he had an idea in the first place.
Yeah.
And this is just a regular dude,
Yeah. Yeah. And this is in a city environment. These are city folk or
mostly city folks.
yeah.
That guy was from Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I think we don't know the full benefits of being around nature versus being around city. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and
Nice.
yeah, and I love it. I don't have a ton of complaints about that, but I do think I've learned more recently in my older years. I'm an old man to really appreciate nature and to be out there. There's something, it's like undescribable. There's something about the
Hmm.
squiggly lines, about it can't be predicted, and it's not like boxed is the way human created things
Right.
are. Um,
For sure.
yeah, but for me, I think I really got into. Have you ever heard of the book Endgame
Yep. Yeah.
by Derek Jensen?
Derek Jensen. Hmm.
Yeah. So that's what introduced me to like a heavy critique of cities and
Mm.
that kind
Hmm.
of like, he has a critique of humans general. He's kind of like anti-human in a way. Sort
In
of.
a way,
Yeah.
yes.
Is that, do you relate to that, or like where do you fall on the spectrum of where you are, and how you see, how we should be relating with Earth?
Yeah. Well, I was very into Deep Brain Resistance when it came out with Eric Jensen and Lear Keith when it first came out. Not
Mm-hmm.
now
Right.
that they're turfs. Not
Mm.
now.
Oh, it's
They made
Jensen.
us, yeah,
Oh, I
they
didn't
made a
know.
serious turn.
Wow.
Yeah.
A
But
lot of
in the
turns.
beginning, I
Mm-hmm.
was into it.
Okay.
I don't know what the link is. I don't know how they became turfs like at
Yeah.
all. But yeah, they have a serious critique of cities. They consider it unsustainable.
Yeah.
There's no way that nature can support these huge cities. They need to be broken down, and um, it makes sense. Their theory makes sense because to support the city, to support New York City, we'll say,
Mm-hmm.
we have to get our water from as far away as Delaware.
Mm.
Like it's just not even possible to support this city with the water we have here.
Right.
We have to get it from other places as well,
And
and that's
that's
not sustainable,
that's fundamentally the issue.
right?
And that's just water. Absolutely everything. New York pulls all kinds
Mm-hmm.
of stuff in, huh?
That's right.
You said something about you said something earlier just a second ago. I'm trying to remember it now. But
Mm-hmm.
it has to do with talking to black people. Da-da-da-da-da. Oh, just identity and like, so again, talking about environmentalism, to me, environmentalism is a word that
Mm-hmm.
points towards a certain part of what is.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that it's valuable to talk about it that way, meaning that it's all connected. That environmentalism
Mm-hmm.
isn't some special thing over there. It's not a
Right.
category. How do you feel about like the value of that?
Environmentalism is, I mean, it's the birds, it's the trees, it's also you and me.
Mm,
I'm my own environment. You're a part of my environment. It's much closer than we tend to think. We tend to think of nature as being out there somewhere you have to go to.
right.
But it's right here. It's also, it's the cities, it's urban animals. You don't think of the pigeons as being part of your environment like that. You
Right.
think of deer and like wild green fields,
Yeah.
but they're absolutely part of the environment.
Yeah. Everything is. And on the same line, like, I did an episode talking about the way we categorize like black issues. When we think about
Hmm.
black issues, it doesn't include necessarily environment. We're thinking quite often about police related
Right.
things and racism, human, whatever. But that's another way of like separating something that's vital to us from
Hmm.
us, and it's really dangerous.
It is dangerous. That's a good word for it. We're definitely conditioned to react to people dying quickly, like through
Hmm.
violence with the police, as opposed to people dying slowly, like through bad diets and food deserts and all of that sort of thing. We've got serious health problems in the Black community. It's like a package that you get from birth,
Yeah.
heart disease, asthma, all this kind of thing. And we are conditioned to react politically um, to violence and whatever the government is doing that's affecting our communities. But we don't tend to look at environmentalism the same way.
Right.
It could be as simple as starting a community garden, taking a little patch of grass that's in your yard and growing some vegetables there.
Yeah.
It could be, these much smaller things that could have bigger ramifications for our health.
Yeah. Yeah. There are things we can do, and there's yeah, I like, there's policies, and then there's like on the level of ideas, right? Yeah, I feel like
Hmm.
capitalism gives us a story about us as individuals.
Hmm.
So everything rests on separating everybody out, and so I think we just we fail to get this texture of the complex fullness of it all.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know. That helps us tell like stories, you know. We can tell like an individual little story about something that happened in one part of the world at this moment. But for me, I keep trying to find ways to help. Like I feel like, how can we have a more holistic discourse? It's something that really keeps coming back to me.
It's interesting. I think just in the discussions, we have to try to keep pulling them towards a more holistic direction. It's difficult because capitalism comes with a whole set of ideas that you're indoctrinated with, basically. I mean, it tells you that you have a family with 3 kids. Each of your 3 kids needs their own room. They need their own bed, own lamp, no sharing. Very, very individualistic. I think that part of that narrative is something that Black people kind of, just because of the way we're positioned, we go against. We do share. We have to. We do have multi-generational households. We have to.
Yes.
And those things are good for the environment, and they're good for us.
Yes.
They're good for our health, for sure. So there are ways that we buck the system without even realizing it. And some of the attitude shift is going to be easier for us.
Yes. Yes. And we're because I like what you said there. Just the way we're positioned as Black people. You said the attitude shift will be easy for us, but we're engaged in the need for new language and new discourse in a way that other people, that the dominant culture doesn't, right? They can just settle into their thing, and I think that's key too. Just talking, just approaching things differently. What do I have here? Just the way you're positioned. What do I want to say about that? I had a different conversation with a different person who said something similar, and they used the word queer to describe the Black experience. They used the word queer to be a sort of a catch-all, non-mainstream experience. How does that sound to you?
Interesting. The mainstream experience is definitely heteronormative, white, nuclear family, that sort of thing. So anybody can fall outside of that.
Right.
Just about anybody. Certainly white folks also fall out
Most
of that.
people are, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting. Yeah. Well, how did you we just got a message actually from Jason Miles actually. Do you know this guy?
Really? That's my bestie.
Hey. Let's see here. Jason says, "Hey, MT." And she said, Jason says, "MT doesn't share. What are the lies? What are these lies?" What is he referring to there? I don't even know what he's referring to.
That's funny.
My wife Sheba says, "Yes, humans are also nature and part of the environment." Clap, clap. She says, "Yes, that narrative also tells you there's no other way to be other than individualistic and to have endless growth and consumption."
That's right.
Yeah, man, what's that about? How'd you meet Jason and these guys? You know what? I just met Jason for the first time in person. Yes, when he was out here in DC, and Pascal, and I was shocked to learn that was the first time that they met each other.
They were meeting. Yep.
That's nutty.
Yeah,
So,
it's crazy.
How did you connect with these people?
So funny. Literally just through the chat.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I remember This Is Revolution had made the deal with Zero Books. That's how I found them in the first place.
Right.
And then I found their own channel, and I just started watching their shows pretty regularly, making jokes about Jason's outfits in the chat.
Colorful brother, yeah.
He's a colorful brother. Very jazzy.
Yeah. Cali style.
That's right. And we just started talking. We would talk just sort of in the little 5 minutes they give you after the show ends. I remember talking to him kind of late like that in the chat. Eventually, I became a mod for the channel.
Nice.
At the recommendation of his mom in the chat, which was very cool.
Nice.
And then I was just invited to be on the show, and I was so geeked.
That's
you have
so
no
cool,
idea.
man.
Yeah.
I had no clue actually. I thought it was something a little more like official somehow. Well, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I met Jason for the first time at the Sublation live show about 2 years ago in Brooklyn. So I
Awesome.
got to meet Jason before Pascal
Okay. Okay.
and before Billy Bunton, the stunt double.
The stunt double. Listen, he's trying to make that happen. He's trying to make that a thing, and we got to stop that immediately. FYI, okay? He said it twice on the stage in DC, and I'm like, you know what? That's funny. Um, what about let's jump right into environment for a little bit again, real quick.
Hmm.
Energy.
Yeah.
Um, nuclear energy.
Hmm.
What do you think about it? I have a friend that's like invested in that as like a way forward for us.
Right.
He thinks it's the only way forward for energy to maintain the
Right.
way we consume. What do you think?
A lot of people have that idea, but in the United States, tough sell.
Hmm.
It actually seems like capitalism is not going to let it happen. The nuclear reactors are very, very costly, very energy intensive, and it's just not cost effective at this point to
Yeah.
get those reactors online in the United States. We should have been building them like 50 years ago,
Yeah.
40 years ago. Yeah.
That's what he says too, actually. He's like,
Yeah.
he's been working at this for a while, but he's also got like a really grim sort of outlook, and he's just like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Hmm.
Jesus.
It's tough. I mean, if you look at it on paper, it makes sense as an option until you consider those other factors. And then it's like, well, this is not even on the table.
Hmm.
So they can do it in France. They've had their reactors online for a very long time.
Right.
But in the US, not so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Not just I was, you know, he'll talk about the cost. He'll talk about the technology of
Hmm.
not just what's some of the newer technologies like fission.
Excuse me. Hmm.
No worries, bless you. Fission technology, and like they can do it, but they can't create the conditions to do it. Like things have to not be able to touch, or it's too hot and everything blows up. This is my
Mm.
summary. It's not it's not scientific, but
Well, my major concern is the waste. No
mm,
one's ever come up with a real solution for the waste. And I can understand, we grew up with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and you've got the green ooze mutating the
yeah.
turtles, and you got the Simpsons and the fish with the three eyes, and
Oh my god,
flying around, swimming around the nuclear reactor. But
is that big oil paying for that?
I, well, that's interesting, right?
Yeah.
I can understand the technology has moved forward since then, and I can understand that the technology is cleaner now,
Hmm.
but they still have no answer for the waste.
Yeah.
It might be less waste, but they never eliminate the waste as an issue, and that's one of my main reasons for being against it.
Yeah. Yeah. That to me, that's not my space. I try to. It's like I
Hmm.
it's I don't know. It might be a little too technical. I'm really in this like social discourse kind of space. Trying to
Hmm.
figure out how we deal with each other. And you're in New York. Is that right?
Yep.
Did
New
you
York
grow up in
City.
New York?
Yep. Born and raised.
Hold up. What borough?
Queens.
Queens.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 Props to Queens.
Thank you.
Yeah. What high school did you go to?
I went to LaGuardia High
You
School of
went to
Music and Art and the
LaGuardia.
Performing Arts. Yep.
Hey. My bad. You had to say the whole high school, yeah.
It's long. It's a very long name.
I cut you off.
That's
uh,
okay.
that's what's up. What form of art were you engaged in?
I was an art major,
Like
visual arts.
hell yeah. You
Yeah.
draw?
Hmm.
What?
Yep.
You still draw?
Not so much anymore.
Okay. Yeah.
Not so much anymore. I
I
do crafting now.
You do crafting.
Yeah, it's real big in with Meemaws in the Midwest and stuff. I watch the videos online of people crafting, and they usually don't look like me, but crafting is very popular, and I sort of fell into it. It's good for gifts.
Well, now I've got to like Google, or you can tell me what exactly is crafting.
Oh, it's just I make something called junk journals.
Mm-hmm.
So they're journals that are made from like the backs of cereal boxes and that sort of thing. So you
Oh,
use kind of what you have to make cool stuff.
I love that.
Yeah,
I feel like that's intertwined with the environmental
it sure
consciousness.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, that's great. Yeah,
Thanks.
I appreciate that. I might have to Google this because one of the things for me, I consider myself an artist. I do visual arts, and but it's
Hmm.
all very digital. And so
Okay.
I appreciate the artists, the crafters, the people who can do tactile, real stuff. You know,
Nice. I do digital art too.
excellent. What kind of digital art?
Well, mostly computer aided design. They call it CAD design. So I used to work in the fashion industry. I used to be a designer,
Dope.
and I would do the technical flat drawings of clothes. So like architectural sketches of clothing. Um,
Yes.
show all the technical aspects and for the factory, so they know how to make things. And yeah,
Dope.
yeah.
I didn't
I
know
do a
that.
little graphics too.
You
Yeah.
better go. I didn't know
Yep.
about any of this. That's really cool.
Thank you.
We got a couple more comments. Jason says there's nothing official about me. I don't even know what he's referring to here. I don't know what he's referring to. By the way, he says MT. And I'm
Hmm.
so what's the naming convention?
Sure. It's MT on this is Revolution.
Okay.
It's just that it's on Facebook that I'm MCT.
Okay.
MC Toussaint.
Got
Yeah.
it.
That's the
Got it.
only place where I'm MC.
Cool, 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 cool. Shiva says we have a local crafting store in our main street.
Nice.
That's right. I think she's right on that. I believe that. Shiva says, "Love that. Use what you have to make your art." Billy is on. Is on Billy's vision board. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We do
Oh
vision boards. We
nice.
do vision boards. And sort of once a year at the top of the year. And so yeah, that's one of the phrases I have on mine. Yeah. What do you think about vision boards?
Really cool. I think it's good for you to visualize things. It's
Yeah,
good to see it. Make things a little bit more concrete and not just in your head.
absolutely. Do you? Mm, what do I want to ask here?
Hmm.
I enjoy boards. I think they're valuable, and I think just as
Hmm.
you said, they're good to create things, and I want to use the word manifesting here, and I
Yeah.
want to kind of see where you, how you respond to that. But
Hmm.
I truly think there's something about the conceptualization of something to something concrete, which helps us imagine, which helps things become real.
Right. Um, Definitely vision boards help with manifesting. I do believe in manifesting.
Okay.
I've manifested kind of my current place, my current job,
Hmm.
and even my work with This Is Revolution. I've learned that you gotta be really concrete about what you want, and then you gotta take some action. You need some kind of movement towards those things for them to come towards you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love how you said that. For them to come towards you.
Hmm.
What are you saying when you say that?
Hmm. Good question. I'm still learning. Yeah, yeah. So for a long time, I was not clear on
Mm,
what I wanted. So I learned that lesson to really like write it down, get it out your head, get the vision board, um, make the list, write it down. But then you also have to take some action on your end.
yeah.
You can't just like hope that it comes to you. You're not gonna get your dream date at home.
No.
You gotta go outside.
Yep.
So
At some point.
yeah, take some steps toward it so it can take some steps towards you.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that phrasing because it implies some sort of coordination with the universe, with
Hmm.
what is, that you are doing something and it is responding to you,
Hmm.
that you're not just trudging along, you know?
Right.
Um, and I like that. And I like that in particular when things seem really tough, when things seem really difficult for me, to really take stock of the fact that I'm investing towards something, and to trust that it's not just disappearing, that these efforts do have some reciprocal effect, even though I may not be able to see them.
Right.
Yeah. Is that Does that feel spiritual to you? Does that, is that the word you
It
would use?
does.
Mm,
It does. It does.
okay.
Definitely does. Um, I learned a lot about manifesting. When I used to work at a sobriety store here in New York City.
Mm,
It was a very spiritual space. They used to sell crystals, and they had tarot readers and all kinds of psychics and great people to have conversations with.
yeah.
But and anybody who is working the 12 steps is working on manifesting a new life for themselves.
Mm,
You know, they say the steps work if you work them. So
yeah.
taking their action, walking towards the thing, and having the thing walk towards them.
Yeah. 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 And
Mhm.
my journey continues, and but I this all would have been a very uncomfortable space for me. The whole idea of spirituality was, for most of my, I'd say, young adulthood, I
Mhm.
went from being growing up sort of a Protestant Christian,
Mhm.
um, to a pivot to like hard atheism, like Sam Harris, Christopher Hitchens, Richard
Ooh.
Dawkins, like atheist is where I am now. Um, and it's in this realm, it's in this spiritual realm, and it's a lot about being present too. Can you talk about
Mhm.
presence?
Yeah. Presence is huge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have a big habit of disassociating and just going off into la la land.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you get so much more when you're present. Um, and it's important to be present with other people. People are full of surprises.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen when you're present with other people. It's a more magical ride.
Yes, magic. See, every time you speak, you drop another word. I'm like, okay, let's get into that. Um, yeah, it's a more magical ride. I love that. And again, with like the linguistics focus, when you say magic, when we talk about presence, we talk about manifesting. It's interesting to me that a younger version of me would not be able to receive this conversation. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like I would have been with us on the environmental stuff, and but then we get to a certain place where we start talking about something. I would have dismissed it as a woo woo, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't have been able to receive it. And that to me is so interesting, and it makes me. It's part of it to me. It's part of the magic,
Mm-hmm.
because there's something about there's something about uh, acknowledging what we don't know, and acknowledging
Mm-hmm.
the lack of language.
Yeah,
Kind of
that's a big one.
building the language together, accepting the language. Um, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think it's definitely a human experience. Something that probably most people can relate to. They just may not believe in it, or they may not have the language around it. But we've all experienced sort of walking into a room and knowing that something happened just before we got there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, was there an argument just before I walked in here, or like,
Right.
what happened?
Right. Right.
That energy is something that we've all felt.
Boom. Another one. Energy. You know, energy. Which again, what are we pointing to exactly? That's part of the magic. It's kind of, but it's real, and you
Yeah.
experience it. And um, so what about God to you?
hmm I definitely believe in a higher power. I don't necessarily believe in a personal God, like one that is interested in my daily affairs and like hides my keys from me, or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more of a universe kind of thing,
Yeah.
but certainly no one knows for sure.
Yeah. No one knows for sure. But yeah, I'm again with just the words of trying to see we're on the same page, because I know there's people who refer to God and they're talking about nature. People who refer to
Mm,
God, they'd be talking about me and you, and themselves and everyone. And people who refer to God, they'd be talking about a white man in the clouds,
right.
and other people refer to God, and they're sending Christmas postcards with guns, and we're all using the same word to talk about this thing.
Right.
So, what is this thing?
What is this thing? This thing is the most mysterious thing that ever existed.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's part of what makes it personal, even though it's not personal, but the experience of it is personal
For each of us, yeah.
for each of us. And we want to respect each other's personal experiences, sort of.
We want to.
Yeah,
Some of us are more sure than others and don't really want to respect others.
that's right. That's right. That's an interesting, scary place. Another comment. Energy,
Hmm.
universal source,
Intuition is big.
intuition. Ooh, I gotta use this thing more. Intuition. Hold on, I got a little like a little noise thing here of soundboard, and I don't use it enough. So intuition. Drop a bomb on that. Um, yeah. What is intuition?
I don't know. Some people say it's your higher self communicating with you. Some people say it's your ancestors communicating with you. Hard to know. Hard to
Yeah,
know. It's mysterious.
yeah. And it's also sometimes it's just like a bad idea, or you know what I mean. Like it's not always the good thing.
Right.
This is, that's part of the challenge of it. But the best we could do, right? There's you're also a fan of science
Hmm.
in a major way, and you don't
Yeah.
feel a contradiction between your commitments to science and this other spiritual place that we've been trying to describe.
I don't. I don't. I think that's very much a response to Christianity
Mm-hmm.
because that kind of dichotomy doesn't exist in Islam. And I
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I wonder what it would be like if Christianity didn't have this thing where, science was like taboo or intelligence was like taboo in some spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't see a contradiction at all.
No, me neither. Um, yeah, you're right. It's about just how we define things and the separations you make. You talked about the separation of like science versus the faith kind of thing.
Hmm.
I when I try to talk about spirituality and my notions of presence, um, sometimes I try to say like a phrase I say is that it's all one thing,
Hmm.
and that to me is a massively empowering thing for me to believe, to know that I am connected to all things, including all of these concepts, from the worst people I can think of to the best examples of the human expression, to God, to the trees and the birds and the bees. um it gives me it gives me strength to kind of be to be better than what I know I can
Hmm.
be.
Yeah.
um yeah, do you have anything like I don't know, when I was when I've had some difficult times, I've had to kind of remind myself that I can't see it all.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, and then I try to, I don't know. It's just for me, it's a battle of trying to figure out because I do have this sort of. I don't want to be like you said. It's a Christian. It's like a response to Christianity. I have this thing against like religion,
Okay.
um,
Organized religion.
organized religion. Yeah.
Hmm.
But I find myself wanting to salvage what we're talking about here, but it creates a little tension for me. I can't lie because sometimes I spend time really in this space,
Hmm.
and then I get a rejection to it, and I go, yo, you need to talk about things that are real that can be
Hmm.
replicable and can be, you can facts you can talk about with other people. This personal thing is something else.
Yeah.
You follow me on that or?
I'm not really sure.
Like I get what I'm trying to say is I get the faith conversation is a weird one for me because I have a rejection to it. I have like an intuitive thing where I don't want to be too like I want to talk about things that everyone can agree on. And because the God question is so vague and somehow kind of personal and it can't be articulated, I get weird about it. I go, okay, well then we need to talk about things that we can agree on. Like, and then I go back to politics, you know? Does that make sense?
You go to politics.
Not that we can agree on, exactly. That's not right. Not that we can agree on, but that we can look at it together. That we can at least point toward it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to get into conflict with other people.
Oh no, I'm down for conflict.
Okay.
But, yeah, I can do conflict. It is this language difference and this experiential difference can be frustrating to me, and I feel like it robs us of an opportunity to talk about I don't know. It can be a frustrating thing for me that pushes me away from the conversation because as I said, like some people are just purely they don't experience these words that we're saying in the same way, you know? So we can't even come to the same definitions. If we're talking about a nuclear power plant or something else, like we can agree on stuff, math, and we can agree on energy numbers and things like this. And the God convo doesn't always give us that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard that religion is a response to revelation. You're going to have to consider that everybody doesn't have the same amount of revelation. Everyone's not on the same level. They're just not spiritually, just not.
Yeah.
Some people are just not there and they're just petty as hell. And you're like, are you serious?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And isn't that part of it too? Like accepting that, like accepting what is kind of is part of the journey is like, okay, wow, this person is completely ridiculous. Okay.
Yes. You have to accept people like where they are. Like I'm not necessarily a huge believer in numerology, but I did study it and I do find it interesting. It's just numbers. And numbers are everywhere. They're a big part of our modern world. And it's interesting the way they pop up sometimes. But in numerology, everybody has a life path number based on their birth date. And that helped me to see that different people are just on a different ride right now. They're on a different journey. They're at different levels. Yeah. Some numbers are more spiritual. Some are more intellectual. And, in the next lifetime, they'll come back as another number and experience things differently. Everyone is not on the same plane.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Numerology is interesting. One of the things when I was, like I said, through difficult times, I have found strength sometimes not through numerology per se, but if I see certain numbers that pop up, like triple numbers, 111, 222, I would say to myself, I would use it as a reminder to myself that I'm safe and I'm free and my timing is perfect. Like don't stress. Your timing is what it is, and what you're seeing is part of it. Yeah.
Nice. Those are called angel numbers.
Right. I think my wife might be a little bit even more heavy into it, but for me, it served a useful, like it served me, and to me too. Back to like what we're talking about. Like I think what makes it personal is the experience. It's the story that I tell myself and that I believe. You know, if I believe something, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
It will affect me. If I believe that a room has snakes in it, it doesn't matter if there's actually snakes in the room. You know, I'm gonna avoid the room. You know,
Right.
and so it's about telling not a story that don't make up a story entirely, but to tell a story that empowers you. I think.
Mm-hmm.
And to know that I have the power to do that. That's actually a thing I can do. That I'm not just at the mercy of things. I can interpret events in a way that empowers me.
Nice.
That's the thing I think is dope.
Very cool.
Yeah, and that makes sense to you too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, fantastic then. And I mean, and that's why I think, yeah. And so it's like telling. I don't even know where I'm gonna go with that. I just think that's just a really powerful revelation, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's very cool. Very cool when it happens.
Very cool when it happens. If I say Greta Thunberg to you,
Mm-hmm.
how do you feel about them?
Greta's interesting.
Mm,
Greta kind of came out of nowhere. Um, Sort of the voice of the youth in a way. Very angry,
yeah.
very unapologetic about her anger as well,
Yeah.
which is always good to see, especially in girls.
Yeah.
Always good to see that.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, eventually she just kind of, her message just kind of gets swirled in with the other ones. And, you know, in a way, I have to recognize that her message isn't necessarily for me.
Mm,
She's addressing who she's addressing, but the people who follow her are very young. So she speaks to them.
mhm.
Extent. I see her message getting like co-opted and
Yeah.
mixed in with all the other messages and diluted and not
This,
taken seriously.
this happens, huh?
Yep.
Wasn't there like a pretty strong quality message with, I think, the early upstart BLM, and
Mm-hmm.
what
Yeah,
happened there? Got weird. That got weird.
that got weird.
We gotta, yeah, it's that message again. It's the story. It's like who gets to control. That's why I think it's so important. That's why I'm so glad that that uh, this is Revolution does what they do, and I'm glad I got to start this. And this is Revolution is touring, and I think to see all the people that came out at Busboys and Poets in DC, it was
Mm-hmm.
really exciting. We have to tell the story.
Right.
Um,
Right.
yeah, or
Very
else
important for the left.
very important because other people are telling our stories for us.
Sure are.
Sheba says, we're told that certainty is more preferable, valid than uncertainty. Interesting.
To some extent, uncertainty is intolerable.
Hmm.
You don't want too much of it. It's very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable for humans.
That's true. That's true. Um, hmm. Might be something to train into.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Because
That
life comes with uncertainties. And you
it's
got to
just
learn how to deal with it.
you gotta learn.
Yeah.
And on the interpersonal, I think a lot of our challenges, a lot of the isms come from this like fear of the uncertainty that
Mm-hmm.
we attempt to put each other in boxes as soon as we see each other. You
Mm-hmm.
know, um, instead of being like, "Yo, I have no clue. I don't know what this person is. I don't know. I need to talk to them.
Right.
I need to engage." Um, I think that's key.
Yeah.
Sheba says, I think you're down for conflict, but you get comfortable talking about God with others because you're afraid of other people's capacity to discuss. Wait, I get uncomfortable talking about God with others because you're afraid of other people's capacity to discuss God, religion. That's what that's the comment
Mm.
Sheba left.
Shout out to Sheba.
Hey, Sheebs. Sheba says Greta has evolved to be anti-imperial, so I think the system is trying to muddle, suppress what her message has evolved into.
Mm,
Mhm,
makes
mhm.
sense.
That's true. And Sheba says humans are also great at tolerating discomfort. That's uncertainty. Yeah, yeah. Certain kinds of discomfort,
Hmm.
we tolerate, we fit into. But yeah. So hold up. You grew up. I want to talk about. Can we? I have you for maybe another 10 minutes or so.
Sure.
And can I talk about MT personal, about Queens and LaGuardia, and about your fam? Like,
Sure.
what was your situation growing up? Your
Well,
childhood?
I grew up in, I don't know if you want to call it, it's not really a suburb. It's too urban to be a suburb, but it's
Okay.
like Southeast Queens. There's a whole, they're called villages. There's a whole section of villages, and like Tribe Called Quest comes from there, and all these different rappers. And
Uh huh.
so I'm from the Laurelton Springfield Gardens area,
Okay. Okay.
which
Okay.
is near Jamaica, Queens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Um, I grew up with the second biggest yard on the block,
Okay.
and there's nature everywhere, and I just loved it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, siblings?
I have one brother, a younger brother, and I had an older sister. She passed away.
Mm. Sorry to hear that.
Thanks.
Um, two family household? Two
Yeah.
family, two parent household, two family.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, two parent household. Yep.
Gotcha. Two family. That's so funny. My step pops kind of had a separate thing, so I guess I had the two family house. The two. um. Okay. Sheba wants to know. She always asks this question to anybody who grew up in New York. By the way, so you ready for this? Her question to you is: what age did you first take the subway by yourself?
That's so funny. I think it was 14 for high school in LaGuardia. So LaGuardia was located in Manhattan, and I'm all the way in Queens, near
Mm.
Long Island. It's like almost a 2 hour trip to get there. So I had to take the bus to the train. And going to high school, that was the first time I think I took the subway alone.
That's
And I
cool.
don't
Yeah.
know how to drive.
And you don't know how to drive, even
Nope,
still. Oh yeah,
even
you're in New
still.
York. Yeah, what you need?
That's right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I remember that. I went to Tech. I went to Brooklyn Tech, and I remember my
Did you
mom.
really?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I,
So cool.
I remember. But I remember LaGuardia. I remember a lot of people from LaGuardia. I always thought it must have been a cool school. I've
Hmm.
never been inside of it. But yeah, I also had a 2 hour train and bus commute. And I remember like the freshman year, my mom took the train with me. We did it 3 times, and she would just
Hmm.
kind of like
Yep.
teach me how to do it. You had the same thing.
Yep. Yep.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Uh,
That's wow. That's crazy.
yeah. So you went. So you're in Queens,
Hmm.
and you go to LaGuardia,
Yep.
and like, how did you get into? How did you become you? How did you develop your sense of the world and your politics and more broadly?
That's very interesting. I think it's a lot of things, and looking at it in this way to answer your question. I think New York City had a lot to do with it. My parents were both immigrants, very New York City story. They're both from Haiti. My
IT.
dad was, yeah,
Dope, dope.
my dad was very spiritual. I learned a lot from him. My mother was very, I don't know, practical. She gave me a lot of skills.
Mm.
So I was able to put the two of them together and sort of try to navigate this crazy, crazy world.
I think you're doing great.
Thank you.
Uh,
Yeah. The arts play a part. I've always loved the arts. I was a big PBS kid since I was young.
nice.
Um, learning numbers in Spanish. That's important.
Do you speak Creole or French or Spanish or?
I speak very little Creole.
Okay.
I understand some French, and I actually took Spanish in high school.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah.
I took French all through middle school and high school because it was cheating. Like, Pretty much just a easy, because my
Wow.
mom totally fluent, and I was okay. I was okay with it, but yeah.
Where's your family from?
Guadeloupe.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's so
We
cool.
francophone, son. We Caribbean French, people.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I still haven't been to Haiti. Have you been to Haiti or to Guadeloupe or?
I went to Haiti when I was very young.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I still remember. I remember seeing a rainbow. I remember going swimming, even though I don't know how to swim. Um,
Nice.
I remember there was a place with toilets and a place that did not have toilets. That
Mm-hmm.
was very memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I anything that I ever see on the news is nothing like what I remember.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's important too, yo.
yeah.
These limited images. Yeah, I was born in Guadeloupe, but spent the first like 5 years of my life in Antigua,
Wow,
which is where my dad currently lives. Yeah.
that's awesome.
Are your parents still in Queens?
My father passed away a few years ago.
Sorry about that.
Um, it's okay, thank you. And my mother is still in Queens. Yes.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Sounds like you love it out there, yo. Still got a lot of.
Um, I don't want to live there.
You don't want to live
But
in Queens?
I don't want to live in Queens.
Okay.
But it's a wonderful place. It's a good place to grow up, and that's why it's so residential. That's why so many families are there. It's a very good place to grow up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was always like on the way to Long Island. I felt like
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Things got a little bit more spread out.
Hmm.
My one issue with Queens is that y'all got 12 roads with the same name. I don't understand
Yes.
why. Like, is it in order to like make everybody get lost? Is that the goal? Is that what we're doing?
I have no idea why they did that.
What? It's really impressive.
I have
It's really
no
impressive.
idea.
Mm. Well, that's what's up, yo. Um,
That's so funny. It is impressive.
yeah. I remember I forget which road it was, man, but it was like I think it was a number. So it was like 12 Road, 12 Street,
Hmm.
12 Avenue, 12 Court, and it was all right
Yep.
next to each other. I
Yeah, all in a row.
was like, y'all crazy with this. Y'all crazy with this. MC, I want to thank you so much for coming on and having this convo with me.
Yeah.
I
Thank you.
God,
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was awesome.
great, great. Yeah, I appreciate hearing your voice and your ideas and the banter with Jason on the shows, and I'll keep tuning in. And yeah, he said I can co-host another time, so maybe that'll happen one time soon, and we'll chat
Yeah.
again. Yo, do you have anything you wanna say before I let you go?
Let's see.
Anything you
Oh,
wanna plug or?
anything I want to plug. Well, This is Revolution is on tonight,
Yes.
9 p.m. Eastern. We're talking about the happenings with the Democratic Party.
Yes.
It's an all hands on deck roundtable.
Okay.
Should be fun.
Who's how many hands are those? Who?
It's a lot of hands.
Lot of hands.
Kuba's going to be on the show.
Okay.
C. Derek Vaughn's going to be on the show. Jason, I'm going to be on the show. Pascal's going to be on the show. So yeah.
Fantastic. Big fan of y'all. I know it's gonna be a great convo. Again, thank you for being here. Good luck. And
Yeah, thank you.
yeah. Let's talk soon.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right.
Later.
Peace.
Peace.
Last things first, you already win. You You already him, you don't gotta pretend, fuck them, you already king. You stay real, you confident in your skin, it's all now. Sit in the power that you already in. This the story of a master from a true Bedouin, far away from home than few ever been. First round pick, league of the smooth gentleman. The game rigged like 50 said it's a cruel sentiment. I'm from the era when lyrics and bars is over everything. 5-star veteran. You couldn't walk in my fucking shoes or carry them. Excuse my borderline is very thin. Been married to the game like ever since maybe 2010. I realized most of y'all not serious. Point blank period. I flex and twist necks like cherry stems. Thought he was buried, but there he is, a new narrative. I keep winning.
They not used to what you bringing, kid.
I keep winning.
They don't even know what they looking at.
I
for
keep
real,
winning.
Man, yo, pick one lane and stay in that
I
shit.
keep winning.
You came up on that hood shit.
I
my
keep
nigga, you
winning.
know, nobody seeing your vision for real.
I keep
man.
winning.
Even your friends don't fuck with you.
I
man.
keep winning.
Be ready for your turn.
So
though,
here's your
G.
one shot right now. Your heart pounding. Clear throat right when the crowd pipe down. It's kinda like time froze on ice now. Damn, stomach tight wound, flipped upside down. Try to speak, but the words and the thought took flight now. Sweaty, but can't pause it or wipe down. You pray for the day you flow with a hype crowd. Now they hanging on your every word and slight sound. Maybe these critics is wrong, maybe you twice as strong. What if every fear and doubt was gone? I'm up first, bright from dawn, like fuck you, we yawn. I squeeze life, pythons bite when the mic's on. Peace, I might respawn. I hook left with the right arm, living in 5-star, ring the alarm. My full nature is still greater, I'm twice born. But never the ball, that's the fucking level I'm on.
Talk to these people, man.
Picture me lost, I'm differently raw. Been through the muck, most y'all instantly boss. Now I'm strictly the boss, drippy, hood hippie couture. Feeding these bitches till it's ripping they jaws. But y'all fans of the bullshit, me flicking it off. I damage your whole clique, these clowns really pissing me off. My verse is heat, and scripted is law. Like, bitch, you fucking know who you singing across, huh?
Okay, you got their attention now,
I
bro.
keep winning.
You just gotta keep showing them what it is,
I
man.
keep winning.
Your shit different for real, though.
I
man.
keep winning.
Yo, stay away from the politics,
I
though,
keep
my
winning.
dude. They still not getting the message, kid.
I keep winning.
They still don't understand where you coming from.
I keep winning.
But make sure you secure the fucking
I
ground,
keep
man.
winning.
I see the growth,
Yo,
keep going.
I'm through playing it low key. Don't sleep. My power levels are OP. I'm floating, the mask
It
off.
is what it is.
Crew run deep, bigger than Sasquatch. We that large, the last gladiator. Blast off. It's either love or give me respect, that's all. Killing these niggas like, yeah, this what you asked for. Black Panther spit flames from Asgard. The whole squadron click transform. Fuck around, find out. Here's a crash course. We all time past now and fast forward. And we keep winning.
Yo, that's crazy, man. Yo, you did that, man. Yo, real talk, man. You can really rap, bro. Real talk, I always